Got a Gen 2 Raptor? You taking it off-road? You looked at your rear passenger shock lately? Alright guys, today we're going to address a problem that's very common on the Raptors. My rear shocks are just getting destroyed by sand and rocks, and if you look, there's actually quite a bit of pitting going on. Lost bolts, lost plastic. It's pretty serious, especially when you compare it to the driver's side shock. Yeah, driver's side shock's not so bad. So to help combat that, we're going to be installing two products. So first we're going to be doing the Foutz Motorsports Shield, and then we're going to do the SwarfWorks actual shock skid that adds another extra level of protection at the bottom. This will protect the actual arm of the shock and adds a little bit of extra protection up at the front. The Foutz Motorsports Shield is just basically a nice aluminum block. It bends around and matches the shape of the shock. It uses the stock holes to hold it in place, but they give you a new set of bolts, right? Because the stock ones aren't big enough. The SwarfWorks Skids are basically a metal form bracket. It's pretty beefy. It's about 1/4 inch, pretty decent sized bracket. It's going to go right in here. The kit comes with the bracket and the bolts. Now there's a couple different versions of this out here. For the Raptor, there's only two versions. It's basically Foutz or forged. The forged off-road one to me is a little bit beefier, stouter, because right here it's just a little flap. All we have is this tiny little flap. Rock hits it, this is going to bend at some point. The reason why I went with the SwarfWorks Skid is because it'll work with the Foutz Shield. The forged will not work with the Shield because it's too close. They'll basically start sitting there and rubbing. Unfortunately, this doesn't fit on both sides. On the Raptor, this will only fit on the passenger side. It will not fit on the driver's side. Okay, so here's just a couple of tools you're going to need. First of all, you want to definitely get yourself a nice impact, something that can do at least 650 torques. I got this one from Harbor Freight, super cheap, less than 200 bucks, well worth it. You're going to need a 15 millimeter just to take the bolt off, and then the other side of that is a 3/4. The bolts that come from SwarfWorks are 3/4 on both sides, 5/32 Allen. You need a 7/16 little bottle jack, and you'll see it in the video on how, a little trick I'm going to show you on how to install that shock without having to pre-tension. And then you also want to get a rubber mallet. First things first, we got to raise the truck. Okay, so to release the bolt, you want to take some of the weight off of it, pull the bolt, and just let the shock drop. Now we don't need to actually take the shock off completely, so we're just gonna do it right here. Okay, so go ahead and slide this up so you can have enough space to slide the shield in. Kind of line up that first hole. Just gonna hand tighten that hole in first. Okay, so this little side one's a little difficult to get to. The easiest thing to do is just turn the shock and start putting it in. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of difference between getting this up here to the top, right? So I'm gonna show you guys a trick that I learned from Forge Off-Road on how to get the gap to be reduced and make it a simple install. Now here's where the little bottle jack comes into play. We're actually gonna raise the frame and separate the leaves a little bit to get that shock point lower, so it's a little bit easier to install. You can also use a scissor jack that comes with the truck, but that's a little bit more difficult. This definitely saves some time. A cheap little 4-ton jack from Harbor Freight will help out. There is a difference in bolts. This one will be more difficult to install. Overall, this is a relatively simple install. I know shock work can seem a little difficult, but it's not. It's really is simple. As far as cost, we're looking at about 70 bucks for the FMI Shield plus shipping, and about 40 bucks for the SwarfWorks plus shipping. And it's a worthwhile investment. It's going to protect your shocks. They're sacrificial parts that are going to take all that damage, so that come rebuild time, you don't have to replace all those components on your shock. The FMI Shield will only work with the Fox shocks. The SwarfWorks Shield will work with aftermarket shocks as long as you keep the stock shock mount locations. Okay. Now also, if you're installing the FMI Shield, you don't need to actually remove the shock. If you're just doing the shield, don't remove the shock. You can do it while it's on there. That one side bolt would be a little difficult to install, but It's better than spending the afternoon changing out the actual shock. Now, if you're just going to do that bottom shield, similar to the Schwarf shield, I do highly recommend you go with the forged off-road shield. It is a welded shield, so it's going to offer more protection for your shock. If you're going to do both, you have to go with the SwarfWorks. The SwarfWorks shield allows the space for the actual FMI shield to fit into place, and it's the only way you're going to be able to do it. The forged off-road one is just too close. All right, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.